Kindergarten is a preschool educational approach based on playing, singing, practical activities such as drawing, and social interaction as part of the transition from home to school. Such institutions were originally made in the late 18th century in Bavaria and Alsace to serve children whose parents both worked outside home. The term was coined by the German Friedrich Froebel, whose approach globally influenced early years education. Today, the term is used in many countries to describe a variety of educational institutions and learning spaces for children ranging from 2 to 6 or 7 years of age. Based on a variety of teaching methods. In 1779, Johann Friedrich Oberlin and Louise Schepler founded in Strasbourg an early establishment for caring for and educating preschool children whose parents were absent during the day. At about the same time, in 1780, similar infant establishments were created in Bavaria. In 1802, Princess Pauline zur Lippe established a preschool center in Detmold, the capital of the then Principality of Lippe, Germany. In 1816, Robert Owen, a philosopher and pedagogue, opened the first British and probably globally the first infant school in New Lanark, Scotland. In conjunction with his venture for cooperative mills, Owen wanted the children to be given a good moral education so that they would be fit for work. His system was successful in producing obedient children with basic literacy and numeracy. Samuel Wildespin opened his first infant school in London in 1819 and went on to establish hundreds more. He published many works on the subject, and his work became the model for infant schools throughout England and further afield. Play was an important part of Wildespin's system of education. He is credited with inventing the playground. In 1823, Wildespin published on the importance of educating the infant poor, based on the school. He began working for the Infant School Society the next year, informing others about his views. He also wrote The Infant System, for developing the physical, intellectual, and moral powers of all children from 1 to 7 years of age. Countess Theresa Brunswick, who had known and been influenced by Johann Heinrich Pestalozzi, was influenced by this example to open an Ungjallkurt on May 27, 1828, in her residence in Buda, the first of 11 care centers that she founded for young children. In 1836 she established an institute for the foundation of preschool centers. The idea became popular among the nobility and the middle class and was copied throughout the Kingdom of Hungary. Friedrich Froebel opened a Play and Activity Institute in 1837 in the village of Bad Blankenburg, in the Principality of Schwarzburg-Rudolstadt, Thuringia, as an experimental social experience for children entering school. He renamed his institute Kindergarten on June 28, 1840, reflecting his belief that children should be nurtured and nourished, like plants in a garden. Froebel thus introduced an educational environment into his school, in contrast to other earlier infant establishments, and is therefore credited with the creation of kindergartens. Women trained by Froebel opened kindergartens throughout Europe and around the world. The first kindergarten in the U.S. was founded in Watertown, Wisconsin in 1856 and was conducted in German by Margareta Meyer-Schuss. Elizabeth Peabody founded the first English-language kindergarten in the U.S. in 1860. The first free kindergarten in the U.S. was founded in 1870 by Konrad Poppenhusen, a German industrialist and philanthropist, who also established the Poppenhusen Institute. The first publicly financed kindergarten in the U.S. was established in St. Louis in 1873 by Susan Blow. Canada's first private kindergarten was opened by the Wesleyan Methodist Church in Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island, in 1870. By the end of the decade, they were common in large Canadian towns and cities. In 1882, the country's first public school kindergartens were established in Berlin, Ontario at the Central School. In 1885, the Toronto Normal School opened a department for kindergarten teaching. American educator Elizabeth Harrison wrote extensively on the theory of early childhood education and worked to enhance educational standards for kindergarten teachers by establishing what became the National College of Education in 1886. In Afghanistan, children between the ages of 3 and 6 attend kindergartens, Although kindergartens in Afghanistan are not part of the school system, they are often run by the government. Early childhood development programs were first introduced during the Soviet occupation with the establishment in 1980 of 27 urban preschools, or Kodakistan. The number of preschools grew steadily during the 1980s, peaking in 1990 with more than 270 in Afghanistan. At this peak, there were 2,300 teachers caring for more than 21,000 children in the country. These facilities were an urban phenomenon, mostly in Kabul, and were attached to schools, governed